Francois.
And I'm Beth Jones. First tonight, the commission investigating the Lewiston mass shootings on October 25th conducted its 9th public hearing today on the 6-month anniversary of the tragedy.
Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard explains who they heard from and what exactly was said.
On Thursday, the commission investigating the Lewiston mass shooting heard from the head of Maine's Victims Advocate Services and more members of Robert Card's Army Reserve Unit.
In some ways, these initial conversations between next of kin and advocates followed the typical pattern of a homicide case.
Daryl Reed is an Army reservist who worked with Card at the Saco Armory and trained at West Point with Card in the months prior to the shooting. He told the commission Card was a regular, hard-working guy, but that all changed when Card got hearing aids.
And he started hearing voices, like he started picking up like conversations across the room. He thought, people were talking about him in negative ways. And then it just progressed from there, from January up until July.
Reed added when Card arrived at West Point, he knew something was off.
He turned like 180 degrees, his teeth were gritting. And when I turned around, I could see he was pretty amped up. And I thought I was gonna get punched in the back of the head. That's how mad he was.
Another reservist, friend, and former roommate of Card testified that he sent a warning to Army officers about a potential mass shooting and threat to the Saco Armory.
The way he was behaving was very threatening. He was escalating. It was just the totality of circumstance through the events leading all the way up to that moment where I was pretty convinced he was going to use harm.
According to the commission, they're expected to have around 3 more public hearings before releasing their final report later this summer. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Maine State Police have released the identity of a body discovered in Caribou earlier this week. The body of a deceased man was located on the bank of the Aroostook River between the dam and Fort Street at approximately 1 p.m. on Tuesday. The body has been identified by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner as 39-year-old Eric Foote of Washburn. A state police spokesperson says the cause and manner of death are still under investigation. Anyone with questions or information about Foote's disappearance should contact the Aroostook County Sheriff's Office.
A hospital in Piscataquis County is changing the way women receive mammogram screenings by putting their state-of-the-art technology on wheels. Our Grace Blanchard brings us an up-close look at the state's first ever mobile mammography service.
We are overwhelmed with excitement.
The Northern Lights C.A. Dean Hospital in Greenville recently launched a groundbreaking new service for breast cancer screenings.
We're really hoping that all the women take advantage of it because we really are here to provide this life-saving care.
The new mammography mobile unit, which was purchased with congressionally directed funds secured by Senator Susan Collins, is the first of its kind in the state.
Almost the exact same room, so we have the mammo unit here, and then we've got our entire tech area back here.
The van is equipped with the same 3D technology that they have in the hospital. Members of the mammography team say it will allow them to reach more patients in rural areas.
I think this is definitely going to help us branch out and collect a lot more patients and help them get access to quality mammograms as well.
According to hospital officials, women should be receiving yearly screenings when they turn 40. However, only 2/3 of women in Piscataquis County over the age of 40 have had a mammogram in the past 2 years.
Because a lot of times distance can be a huge barrier, which makes women defer their screening mammograms.
But they hope to change that with their new set of wheels.
If we can bring this service into those communities and hopefully allow those women to be able to get their screenings, then we've really filled that need.
They plan to start traveling with the van to various communities across the state this summer. In Greenville, I'm Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Now that the majority of Maine's lakes and ponds have completely thawed out, it is now time for scientists to go to work to combat algae blooms. One organization in Augusta is determined to stay ahead of that curve. Our Matthew Juronsik has the story.
Algae blooms can be very dangerous. Once it starts taking over, if left untreated, it can eventually squeeze much-needed oxygen from its ecosystem. It can also be very dangerous for humans and animals if the algae is consumed or touched, sometimes causing prolonged illnesses and symptoms including stomach pain, headaches, and liver damage. To prevent this, Warramatogus Lake Association helped fund a chemical treatment for Togus Pond that would help eliminate these blooms.
We are utilizing a product used to treat drinking water. It's called aluminum sulfate, commonly found in pickle relishes and acids. And we utilize that to bind the phosphorus in the lake. And the phosphorus is the driver for blue-green algae growth.
According to Barrow, phosphorus is what contributes to algae growth. Speaking to Warramatogus Lake Association's president Greg Jolt on the phone, he says Togus Pond is one of the many bodies of water that's on the Maine's Impaired Lakes priority list. The process is quite complex, yet simple. The aluminum sulfate is loaded onto an application barge. Once it's ready to go, the barge heads to a predetermined treatment zone where it is then dumped.
Once the aluminum sulfate project is complete, you're going to have the frequency and duration of those algae blooms that you previously saw are going to diminish.
Barrow says he's applied this treatment more than 200 times and believes there are many benefits to using this method.
When a lake has too much algae, you start to see diminished recreational values, sometimes home values. So anytime we can clean up and improve water quality, we're meeting a lot of different goals for a lot of different folks.
Barrow says this treatment will continue to be applied in Togus Pond daily until Friday evening. In Augusta, Matthew Juronsik, ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Most of us are happy to see spring and with it warmer weather, but for some it can mean the arrival of seasonal allergies. Dr. Rung-Chi Lee at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center says most of it happens as things start to bud and pollen is in the air. He says the best way to deal with allergies is to avoid triggers when you're outside.
Long sleeves, mask if we need it, try to avoid exposure basically. And at home, make sure we can change right away.
He says there are some other tips you can try. He says it's important to clean your pet if they play outside so they don't bring pollen in with them. Have outdoor and indoor shoes to keep pollen outside as well. You can also limit your time outdoors or use over-the-counter medication to control your allergy symptoms. And it's important to go to a walk-in care or the emergency room if you are having a severe reaction like trouble breathing or swallowing. And allergies affect so many of us to different degrees. I have just mild allergies, but just enough to be a very major inconvenience at times.
I have to say, I think this year so far has been the worst season for me that I can recall. I've really been battling the congestion and the nasal issues and stuff for, pretty much weeks now. And I definitely feel like for me, this is the worst season that I've experienced, but we've heard a lot about how high the pollen count is, so it's not a real big surprise. Just hopefully folks are finding ways to cope for sure.
Yep, and good to hear some of those tips.
Some of those tips, good reminders.
Yep.
Alrighty, folks, let's go ahead and hit pause here. We'll peek outside and get a first check of our forecast.
All right, thank you very much. Look at us. High temperatures only in the mid to upper 40s across the area today. Tomorrow, though, it's going to be a bit warmer, and we do have 60-degree temperatures in the 5-day forecast. Until then, though, the wind out there now, not much left of it. It's going to die down tonight and throughout the day tomorrow. It's likely going to go calm late tonight and tomorrow evening. That's going to feel pretty good around here. All right, lots of clear skies all day long. A couple of high clouds out there now. Not a big deal. We are dry tonight, dry tomorrow, dry Saturday and Sunday. Maybe a couple light rain showers in the forecast for us Sunday evening. Our forecast then for tonight, though, is mostly clear skies and not as cold, but still kind of cold with low temperature upper 20s. Your full forecast is coming up.
Alrighty, we'll be waiting for that. In the meantime, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, a warming shelter in southern Maine is closing down for the season, leaving many worried about the ripple effect.
And Portland residents react to a ferry rate increase ahead of the summer season. Those stories and more when we come right back.
It's Ram Truck Month at Quirk Ram in Bangor. Deep discounts on remaining 23 Ram 1500 Bighorn. Save over $10,000 and buy for $59,000. Or save big on Gladiator Sport S with discounts over $9,700. Find your Ram or Jeep at Quirk.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
Hello, Ghostbusters! It's Doug. We help people customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. We got a bit of a situation. Sure, I can hold.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
In theaters now.
At the Toyota Spring Savings Event, great selection means lots of great savings deals. College students and recent grads could get a $500 rebate over and above most other offers. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
There's 100 reasons why you should enroll in one of Maine's community colleges. Here are 5. Tuition is free for many, affordable for all. We have hundreds of programs. Our class sizes are small. There's free one-to-one academic advising and tutoring. And we make college flexible. 2-year degrees, 1-year certificates, and short-term training with online, hybrid, and in-person classes. Make your way here. Enroll today at a Maine community college.
The baddest superstars on the planet are unleashed in prime time. From the heavens! All new Friday Night SmackDown at 8/7 Central on Fox.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. The money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I do it. Oh my goodness!
Major League Baseball all season long on Fox.
Plan your next road trip in a new Hyundai from Quirk Hyundai in Bangor. For safety and style, lease 24 Kona SEL all-wheel drive for only $299 per month and enjoy 3 years or 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. It's your Hyundai. Find it at Quirk.
Half-off deals. Save money at foxbangor.com right now. Get the best deals from restaurants, family fun activities, events, and your favorite stores all in one place. Go to foxbangor.com and click on half-off deals and see all the money you could be saving. Half-off deals at foxbangor.com.
As the days get warmer, more temporary overnight warming centers are closing. One is closing early next week, leaving around 40 people with no place to go. Asia Reed tells us more.
This Sanford Warming Center is open 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. But Tuesday, that comes to an end.
Tuesday's coming around, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, sadness.
Robert Edson says he and his wife will live in their car once the doors here close. This center is only open during the winter months, but even in the spring, it can get down to the 20s here. Edson wishes centers could extend how long they're open.
Because it's still not that warm at night, and, we're all going to be cold if we have no place to go. And I just don't want to see anything happen to anybody.
This center is ran by York County Shelter Programs. Executive Director Megan Jean Gendron says funding is a huge issue, so centers cannot extend how long they're open.
We're funded at 35% of what it costs to operate. We would love to expand shelter beds and to provide more shelter beds.
Though they are working around the clock with more than 180 people who have spent time here.
We've also been able to place 12 individuals from the warming center at our adult homeless shelter in Alfred. We've had 2 individuals return to family.
Gail Edson has been staying here and wishes there was a place for them to go when it's still cold out.
We need more funding for the homeless and more housing because a lot of the homeless have nowhere to go. No family, no friends.
It's free will if they choose not to go into a shelter bed or into a housing unit and return to encampments. That is their choice.
The executive director says this is one of the last warming centers open in the area, and it is the only one in Sanford.
And that was Asia Reed reporting. Meanwhile, it's getting to be that time of year where Commercial Street in Portland gets crowded and the ferry lines can get long too. Now, for the first time in 15 years, the board passed ticket price increases. Johnny Maffey has a reaction and where the increase goes from here.
Right now, to hop over to Peaks Island on the ferry during peak tourism season, it costs $7.70. But this morning, the board voted to increase that price to $14 to get to any island.
The Casco Bay Lines board says it's operating at a $4.3 million loss, which is evened out by grants, but ticket prices haven't gone up in more than a decade. The ferry is funded for 2024, which brought into question if the process was being rushed. Islanders for and against the higher rates weighed in.
People, everybody, whether you're rich, poor, whether you're working or retired, expect prices to go up. It's unfortunately a fact of life. So I think, number one, that this is long overdue.
My concern is pretty much consistent with if you're a resident and you have a family or friends coming, you need to have some mechanism for buying a reduced rate ticket than the $14.
An amendment to add a family book for residents failed, but the chair of the Finance Committee says she's committed to consider it later on.
When my kids want to come out to the island or something, it would be nice to be able to not have that be $14 for them to come out.
Although I appreciate all the work everybody did, I think it's, very time consuming. But I also believe it does not have to be that aggressive.
Another amendment which unanimously passed expands the discount rate for kids from 5 to 13 years old to 5 to 18 years old. The 30 and 90-day passes are also options frequent riders can look to. Some islanders say the rate hike is worth the year-round service.
I know these guys work really hard, and like I said, in the winter, I'm not sure if they're making any money at all. So what they're doing, I think, is fine.
So the proposal that passed now heads to the Maine PUC with hopes of implementing it sometime in June.
And that was Johnny Maffey reporting. And coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, Harvey Weinstein's New York rape conviction is overturned by that state Supreme Court.
And police have arrested hundreds more pro-Palestinian demonstrators at college and university campuses across the country. Those stories and more when we come back.
The circus is coming! The circus is coming!
Don't miss this exciting new show featuring Bell & Knott comedy act as seen on America's Got Talent, Daredevil, comedian, legend, and more. The Anna Shrine Circus, April 26th, 27th, and 28th at the Bangor Cross Insurance Center.
Transform your surroundings with Paramount Paving, located in Bangor. They are your paving and seal coating experts. Whether it's residential maintenance to full commercial projects, Paramount Paving delivers quality that lasts. Book before June 1st and enjoy a $250 Visa gift card upon completion of your next paving project. Call us today at 602-8931 or visit us at ParamountPavingLLC.com. Paramount Paving, setting the standard for excellence. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
So, all of us are here to talk about trading. Right now at US Cellular, you can get a new phone without having to trade in your old one.
Trade you my PB&J for that phone.
No, kid, you don't have to trade. See? $830 off any phone at US Cellular. No trade-in needed.
You drive a hard bargain. Boom. Chocolate milk.
You don't have to trade.
I'll take the chocolate milk.
Okay.
Get $830 off any phone. No trade-in needed with any unlimited data plan.
Bipolar 1, I got help to push back.
I got help to push back.
We got help to push back with Lybalvi.
Once daily prescription Lybalvi is proven to treat manic or mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults to help you push back. Elderly patients with dementia have increased risk of death or stroke. Do not take Lybalvi if you are taking opioids or are in opioid withdrawal. The samidorphan in Lybalvi can cause severe opioid withdrawal that can lead to hospitalization or increase risk of life-threatening overdose. Get emergency help if you have trouble breathing, become very drowsy with slowed or shallow breathing, feel faint, very dizzy or confused, or have a fever, stiff muscles, rash, swollen glands, or problems with your liver, kidneys, heart, or lungs. Other serious side effects may include high cholesterol, weight gain, potentially fatal high blood sugar, uncontrolled body movements which may be permanent, dizziness upon standing or falls.
Are you ready? Ask your doctor about Lybalvi. Looking for copay savings? Text copay to 45286.
The circus is coming! The circus is coming!
Don't miss this exciting new show featuring Bell & Knott comedy act as seen on America's Got Talent, Daredevil, comedian, legend, and more. The Anna Shrine Circus, April 26th, 27th, and 28th at the Bangor Cross Insurance Center.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
A New York appeals court overturned Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction today, ordering a new trial in a stunning reversal of a landmark Me Too case. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
New York's highest court overturning Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction, ordering a new trial in a shocking reversal of the landmark Me Too case. In a 4-3 decision, the appeals court found Weinstein's trial judge erroneously allowed testimony from 3 women whose allegations were not connected to the charges against the disgraced Hollywood mogul. Weinstein's lawyer praised the court's decision.
Today's legal ruling is a great day for America. If it's a former president of the United States or the most storied Hollywood producer of our generation, the law applies to everyone.
Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison after being convicted in February 2020 of forcing oral sex on TV and film production assistant Mimi Haley in 2006 and third-degree rape of hairstylist Jessica Mann in 2013. He has denied ever engaging in non-consensual sex.
Today is a day like every day in American women's lives when male sexual violence has intruded and disrupted our lives.
Actress Ashley Judd reacting to the ruling. In the past, she has said she escaped Weinstein's sexual advances by making a deal.
This today is an act of institutional betrayal. And our institutions betray survivors of male sexual violence.
In Los Angeles, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Weinstein was ordered to serve a 16-year prison sentence in Los Angeles for the rape of an Italian model. The sentence goes into effect after he serves his time in the New York case.
Well, a question on many people's minds: will President Trump have immunity? It's a question the Supreme Court is weighing in a special session, which could have major impacts on future presidential administrations. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the story.
Former President Donald Trump stuck in New York for his hush money criminal trial, while here in Washington, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in a separate case, weighing whether Trump is immune from criminal charges for actions he took while in office. Dozens of demonstrators outside the Supreme Court protesting former President Trump's alleged role in trying to overturn the 2020 election results. Inside, justices heard hours of arguments over whether former presidents have absolute immunity from criminal prosecution. The landmark case stems from special counsel Jack Smith's federal election interference case against Trump, which is currently on hold awaiting the high court's decision.
This case has huge implications for the presidency, for the future of the presidency, for the future of the country, in my view.
Justices peppered attorneys on both sides, trying to find the line between protecting presidential authority and holding future presidents accountable for their actions.
If the potential for criminal liability is taken off the table, wouldn't there be a significant risk that future presidents would be emboldened to commit crimes with abandon while they're in office?
As for Trump, he was stuck in a New York courtroom for a separate hush money criminal case. A judge denied Trump's request to skip court to attend the Supreme Court session, but the former president had this to say before walking in.
If you don't have immunity, you're not going to do anything. You're going to become a ceremonial president.
We don't know how long the justices will take to issue their ruling, but the latest it could come out is at the end of June. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, since Wednesday afternoon, police have arrested hundreds more protesters at college and university campuses across the country. And it comes as Columbia University sees some signs of solidarity with Jewish students. Fox's Jonathan Seri has more.
Pro-Palestinian protests continuing to spread across college campuses on Thursday.
You can see a show of force here.
Here in Atlanta, police used tear gas and tasers to disperse several dozen protesters gathering at Emory University. Multiple people were forcibly removed.
Not for war and occupation.
And in Boston, more than 100 demonstrators were arrested at Emerson College overnight. In New York, leaders at Columbia University say they will continue negotiating throughout at least midnight with students who have been camping out for more than a week.
There's a constitutional right for people to express their views and a constitutional right for people to come together and protest things.
The university says protesters agreed to remove tents and non-students from an encampment on the school's lawn. But Thursday afternoon, the lawn did not look much different than it did earlier in the week. And some Jewish students say they won't feel safe until that camp is removed.
While the administration sends out some emails to students updating them on what's going on, it's pretty much we're being left to fend for ourselves.
But signs of solidarity are starting to emerge. There is a United for Israel rally on campus Thursday night, and Israeli flags are being placed not far from the protests. And on Wednesday, House Speaker Mike Johnson warned military force could be on the table to clear out the tents.
The madness has to stop. The madness has to stop.
All this as schools prepare for the final days of the semester and graduation ceremonies. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
And with the Israel-Hamas war escalating, tensions across the Middle East and the world, a senior Hamas official is laying out what he says it will take for the group to establish a ceasefire. Fox's Gary Baumgarten reports.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu still says a ground invasion into the southern Gaza city of Rafah is critical to eliminating the remaining Hamas strongholds in the region. This, as a senior Hamas official speaking to the Associated Press in Turkey, reveals the terror group is ready to continue ceasefire negotiations.
If they can't finish Hamas off, what is the solution? The solution is to go to consensus. We have repeatedly offered the establishment of a fully sovereign Palestinian state.
Hamas says it is willing to agree to a 5-year or longer truce with Israel, adding it would lay down its weapons and transform into a political party, but that's if an independent Palestinian state is formed. This would include territory in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza. Israeli officials are not expected to entertain this idea, especially with more than 100 hostages still in Hamas captivity.
Until Hamas releases our hostages, the IDF will continue to pursue Hamas.
If we are not assured the war will end, why would I hand over the prisoners?
But anger over the lack of progress surrounding the hostages' release is boiling over. Police arresting protesters Wednesday night outside the home of Prime Minister Netanyahu in Jerusalem. Demonstrators lit fires in the street as hundreds demanded the government do more to secure the hostages' freedom. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, find out how the Biden administration's new mandates plan to reduce pollution emissions from coal-powered plants.
And in sports, it's been a great offseason so far for Maine hockey. They're all in with some big expectations for next season. We'll be right back.
It was one thing when my mom got Alzheimer's, but then we started noticing things that seemed off. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes she'd fidget with her fingers, get suddenly overwhelmed, and even throw things. And that was just never her. So we asked her doctor what else we could do.
Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke, report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur.
Rexulti helped reduce my mom's symptoms.
Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in pet orthotics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Welcome to 207 Wellness, where transformation begins from within. Embark on a journey of self-betterment with our comprehensive services from weight management to IV hydration, vitamin supplementation, and neurotoxin injections. 207 Wellness is here to support your wellness goals. Take the first step toward a healthier, happier you, rejuvenate your body, refresh your mind, and reclaim your vitality with 207 Wellness. Transform your wellness, transform your life. Give us a call today.
Jim Small Engine, Snow's Corner Road, Arlington, brings years of experience and a large parts inventory to make your engine as good as new. Lawnmowers, chainsaws, rototillers, wood splitters, generators, blowers, trimmers, and power washers will leave Jim Small Engines fully repaired, shiny clean, and ready to go. Jim Small Engines is an authorized dealer for these top brands and sells a wide array of used engines as well as new and used parts and accessories. Call Jim Small Engines at 825-3527. Check their website and like them on Facebook.
Police in Arizona are training to help properly respond to calls involving people with autism. Fox's Steve Nielsen takes us there to learn more.
Is there a unit available for this check welfare call holding on the stack?
817 Tom, I'm 17 on that call.
In reference to a Hispanic or white male subject wearing a gray shirt, black shorts, acting erratic.
Phoenix police recruits in teams of 2 respond to the playground.
Hey buddy, what's going on? Phoenix Police Department, how you doing? You okay?
The subject they're talking to, Nicholas.
He loves playing video games, loves watching movie trailers. He just is just a great kid.
A proud dad.
You're doing great, bub. Here we go. Stand by.
Sergeant Francisco Valenzuela was put in charge of interpersonal communication training a few years ago, and a light bulb went off.
This is probably the most complex and the most realistic scenario that you're going to have here at the academy.
Using his son with autism as a real-life training scenario, it mimics real calls these recruits will respond to.
10-4802, Tom. Your call is going to be a check welfare.
I could tell immediately that he was autistic. I have an older sister with Down syndrome, so something I can process pretty quick.
Recruit Casey Bazil says they weren't told what to expect, and it was eye-opening for all of them.
Do you have any siblings?
No, I don't have any siblings.
No siblings? A lot of those calls kind of sound like someone using drugs at the park or someone just acting erratic, so you never really think that someone's just autistic going to that call.
Recruits kind of panic. Like, what do I do? The thing is, there's different avenues to get the solution. Their job is try to be critical thinkers and try to reunite Nicholas back with the parent.
Bazil said she learned a lot about his ID.
Go ahead and have them give that phone number a call and see what info they can get off of it. So I didn't really process what the necklace was until he handed it to me and I saw a phone number on the back.
Just making sure everything was okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with you being in the park.
Phoenix Police is currently under a Department of Justice investigation, including how officers handle mental and behavioral health calls.
Let's rewind. Let's hit the reset button.
After each scenario, Sergeant Valenzuela tells the recruits what they did right and wrong.
There's no better way to fully expose these recruits that are coming through than actual real life scenarios.
Bazil says this training will leave an impact on her.
It's something you never forget. So now when you go to that and you experience it, you know exactly what to do.
They've been doing this training since 2020. So that means hundreds of Phoenix police officers have trained with Nicholas.
The Biden administration is cracking down on power plant pollution in an effort to fight climate change. The Environmental Protection Agency issuing sweeping new mandates today, including strict controls on carbon dioxide emissions at existing coal plants and newly built natural gas plants. Power plants would now be forced to capture smokestack emissions or shut down. The new measures also include requirements to reduce toxic wastewater pollutants from coal-fired plants and to safely manage coal ash in unlined storage ponds. The action is part of Biden's pledge to eliminate carbon pollution from the electricity sector by 2035.
Well, we rely on Mother Earth for a lot, with many of the world's plants offering up materials used in common and important medications. But scientists at England's Royal Botanic Gardens say there's tons of plants that could be holding clues to how we can develop new medications in the future. To see how we can unlock those potential secrets, researchers are using artificial intelligence software. Fox's Sean Langeal takes a closer look.
From cough drops to aspirin and beyond, many of the medical remedies we seek when we're sick have ingredients that come from nature. According to the Department of Agriculture, about 40% of drugs behind pharmacy counters in Western countries are derived from plants. But now scientists are trying to discover medicines of the future, combining the natural and digital worlds with help from artificial intelligence.
It's a huge study.
Researchers are using AI to analyze the properties of hundreds of species of plants in an effort to see how they could be related. AI will then cross-reference that genetic data with the properties of known medicines we use today.
So the project I'm leading at Kew aims to address this challenge by developing an artificial intelligence approach to predict which plant species would be more likely to contain lead compounds for drug discovery.
The team says finding other plants who can make new and existing medicines from is critical, citing how extracting materials from the same types of plants over time could cause dramatic declines in those species.
The anti-cancer drug paclitaxel was first isolated from the Pacific yew, which resulted in killing many trees because it was sourced from the bark. And so scientists turned to a related species in the same genus and extracted similar chemicals from the leaves.
Sean Langell, Fox News.
America is running short on veterinarians, and that could lead to problems for pets. A recent study by Mars Veterinary shows by 2030, there could be 15,000 fewer vets than needed to care for our pets nationwide. Fox's Sunny Sai shows us the toll this could have on pets and what one animal shelter believes could help mitigate the issue.
It's common these days to schedule an appointment for your pet and need to wait weeks, if not months, for them to get seen. This applies to both general and urgent care. Workers here at the Humane Society of Ventura County tell me they try to book their appointments to max capacity each day to help alleviate this problem.
Especially since COVID, I've never seen emergency rooms have to turn people away. And in these cases, they don't always have a veterinarian on staff in an emergency room because of shortages.
47 states are facing some sort of veterinarian shortage, and the high cost of vet school doesn't help the case.
Most vets are graduating with an average about $160,000 in student loans. And then the shortage also goes into the fact that veterinarians oftentimes, once they graduate, they want to start repaying those loans. And so they're going to look for more lucrative jobs in larger cities and things like that. Working at municipal shelters, nonprofits are not going to be nearly as lucrative as a private practice.
Dr. Sisk was the only vet at the Humane Society of Ventura County for several years, until last fall.
Last fall, the board of directors said, you know what, we need to be a bigger part of this solution, so let's hire an additional veterinarian if we can.
The shelter is also sending workers into the community to offer low-cost vaccinations.
When you talk about barriers to access to veterinary care, you're not just talking about the first thing that comes to mind, which is finance, which is very important, but you're also talking about geography. And so while we are close to some large populations, we're a little bit further from others.
The Humane Society also says teaching the community to be a part of the solution by getting their pets spayed and neutered will also help lower the demand for vet services. In Ojai, California, Sunny Sai, Fox News.
And it really is a problem you see across the country. I know even around here it can be really hard to find a vet.
There are undoubtedly veterinary deserts in the state of Maine, and it really is unfortunate. It causes complications, it causes stress. It can, certainly at times jeopardize the well-being of animals. And so you just hope that folks continue to come into this, this field of study, and maybe it's time that schools start thinking about making, veterinary studies a little more cost-effective, knowing the crisis that it's causing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, when we come back, we'll have our full 5-day forecast.
High temperatures got stuck in the 40s across much of the area today. Tomorrow, 50s and 60s are in the 5-day forecast. They're coming. More on that when I come back.
When you start any business, there's a lot of emotions that you feel. Being able to work with a credit union that believed in what we were trying to do has allowed us to grow so quickly. New fermentation tanks, a grain silo, 2 vehicles that we're using. I've always been able to reach the credit union as if they're in the next office over from me. When we started, we had 6 employees. 3 years later, over 50 employees. Every step of the way, the credit union has truly been a part of our team.
Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news. And Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7. Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news. And Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7.
Angler's Restaurant in Newport, open daily from 11 to 8. We are your home for fresh seafood. Our specialty is scallops, lobster, fish and chips, and of course, lobster rolls. Now, if seafood is not your preference, we offer fan favorites like cheeseburgers and chicken tenders. Stop by for the atmosphere and stay for the incredible dining experience. Anglers, Maine's family seafood restaurant.
Hood milking you. It's why we do what we do. Day in and day out. Making milk you can trust, with no artificial growth hormones. And we protect Hood milk with our light block bottle. We care about our milk because we know how much you care about what you give your family. So you can feel good about Hood.
Birmingham, touchdown, Houston, or San Antonio, Arlington. The United Football League, Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox.
Here we go. Your full weather is brought to you by Refine Contractors, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. Okay, let's talk about the weather out there. And here we are with temperatures only in the 40s today. I know it's not fair, but the sunshine sure felt good with temperatures in the upper 40s today. Tomorrow we're going to go for low to mid 50s, followed by 60s are back in the forecast over the weekend. As there is a lot of heat across the plains again, 70s and 80s out here. Part of that's moving in our direction, so hold on. It's going to feel more like spring around here this weekend and beyond. And the wind is finally going to die down. The advisories are all dropped for wind across the area. Out of the northwest now, around 5 to 10. It could actually go calm for a couple hours tonight, followed by maybe gusts near 15 tomorrow, and then calm tomorrow night once again. So a couple of very nice days are on the way with us, and we have not had a calm wind around here for a very long time, so congratulations. It's definitely on the way. Okay, so lots of clear skies out there for us today. There's a couple of high clouds out there now. It's not going to bug anybody tonight. Overall, high pressure has built in. High pressure is our friend. It's going to keep things very nice for us tomorrow and for Saturday and for Sunday. And then probably a couple rain showers late Sunday into early parts of Monday, and then dry through much of Monday, followed by another much wetter system getting in here late Monday into Tuesday of next week. There's a pretty big mess in the west, though. Lots of severe weather out here right now. Lots of moisture and instability. This is all kind of moving in our direction. It won't get here, though, most likely until later Sunday into Monday. Looking ahead, though, here we go. Lots of clear skies out there tonight and throughout the day tomorrow. And then increasing clouds later Saturday night, but more so Sunday morning. And you could easily see a couple of rain showers work their way through, most likely late Sunday night into early parts of Monday, followed by another system getting in here late Monday into Tuesday. Rainfall, though, looks like this, so not a lot, right? I'll run this through Sunday evening or so. We're talking about maybe 1/10 of an inch of rain. Again, that's not a lot. We'll get some more after that. The allergens out there, watch the tree pollen getting the moderate to high category out there now. And then behind that, the grass pollen, too, likely will tick up not in this week, probably next week or late next week around here. All right, going forward, though, so our forecasts are looking at mostly clear skies and still cool. Not as cool as last night, but still cool for this time of the year. Look for low temperatures down near 26 and a west wind around 5 for tomorrow. Okay, let's take it in, right? Partly cloudy skies, high temperatures back up, mid-upper 50s tomorrow. A couple of you might touch 60 with a northwest wind only around 5 to 10 miles per hour throughout the afternoon. And then looking ahead, your 5-day forecast shows a good story, right? So tomorrow, 56, mid-60s are not out of the question with plenty of sunshine Saturday. Increasing clouds Sunday morning will give us a chance for a couple of rain showers late Sunday night into early parts of Monday. And then most of Monday will stay dry, followed by another system getting in here late Monday into Tuesday of next week.
Alrighty, Jeff, thank you so much.
And sports is coming up next. Stay with us.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management.
At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping us save more money on prescription drugs. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, our drug premiums are zero, and our out-of-pocket costs are low.
I enrolled and I'm saving money. If you're single and make less than $23,000 a year, or are a married couple making less than $31,000, you may qualify and save, even if you don't think you qualify. It pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extrahelp.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Engstrom's Auto Service in Guilford. We specialize in all foreign and domestic service and alignments.
Hey everybody, Ryan Sudol here. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with the NFL Draft. Thursday night, the Patriots selecting third, their highest pick since 1993. Needing a franchise quarterback, the Pats getting just that. They hope. Former North Carolina quarterback Drake May is coming to Foxborough with that third pick. May starting 26 games over 3 seasons as a Tar Heel with 63 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, going 17-9 as a starter. May brings a great combo of arm, strength, quick feet, and size at 6'4", 230. He is a risk taker out there, though, for better or for worse. Either way, May couldn't be more excited to bring his competitive spirit to the Patriots.
Oh, it's a blessing. I'm blessed. I'm usually a man a lot of words. It left me speechless. So I'm excited to be here tonight. And Pats Nation, let's go, man. Let's go. Pats Nation. Anything keeping score, I'm here to win. And, the Patriots get my whole family, all my brothers, everybody. I'm a full package. So looking forward to it. And let's go, Boston.
Maybe the first order of business should be making sure he gets on the right train. To the ice now. Despite losing Bradley Nadeau and a few other impactful players to the pros, it's been a pretty successful offseason so far for Maine hockey. They've got great guys coming back and coming in, plus some high expectations for next season. Tyler Cruz has more.
Our team has some unfinished business to take care of.
The way that season ended last year, we have a lot more to prove this year and should be an exciting year.
As soon as Maine hockey's season ended, they hit the ground running.
This offseason is going to be really huge, and it's a great opportunity for us to work on our skills and hopefully come in next year full head of steam.
We haven't stopped since the day we lost.
After playing in their first NCAA tournament game since 2012, Maine hockey has a taste, and all that does is leave them wanting more.
We took steps this year, but we didn't accomplish, the ultimate goal. Similar to last year when we failed in the first round, this year we failed in the first round of the NCAA, and hopefully we can learn from that, incorporate that into our culture with just how hard it is and how important every little thing is, and learn from it and go further.
And the Black Bears have all the confidence that they can go further.
There's a ton of belief. We know what we have in our room. We know what kind of culture we have.
With a ton of their main guys coming back, including both of their captains, Lyndon Breen and David Brazil, and their second leading scorer in Josh Nadeau, plus 4 impactful transfers and a great freshman class, the vibes are high, and so are the expectations.
We love who we have coming back and coming in, and we believe it's the right group to go out and compete for a national championship, compete for a Hockey East championship. That's the goal. That's the one thing on all of our minds.
I think it'll be the deepest team we've ever had. To me, it's just about, do we have 20 guys dressed every night that are capable of thriving in this environment? And hopefully we're there. And if we're there, like you saw, like our guys believe that we can go the distance.
All of us here wants to win the whole thing, and that's what we work on every day to get to.
From Bangor, I'm Tyler Cruz, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Thank you very much, Tyler. Cannot wait for next season. Now, let's go to some girls lacrosse action. Fresh off their first program win ever against MCI Tuesday, the Hamden Brewer Co-op facing off against fellow co-op Lawrence Winslow. Score 3-2 Lawrence after one quarter. So let's start in the second. Off a foul, it's HAB's Bella Saucier charging in from a few yards out, and just like that, we are tied up at 3. Later on, ground ball collected by HAB's Ainsley Goodwin. A little rainbow shot goes past Waverly O'Toole and in. HAB leads 4-3. To the third quarter, same score. Lawrence trying to equalize, and Kaylee Nutter works her way past the D and does just that, bouncing it in to make it 4-4. Finally, Lawrence's Whitney Churchill off a Zoe Ward screen from the side of the goal sneaks it in. They go up 5-4. Back and forth from there. Lawrence Winslow goes on to win 9-8 in overtime. And now let's go to some other scores from the area. Class A boys tennis, Bangor defeating Brewer 5-0 in a straight sets, 5-0 there. Class C boys lacrosse, MCI Nokomis 9-8 over John Bapps. Class B baseball, MDI 7-2 over Herman. And in Class C softball, Bucksport coming back to defeat Dexter 7-3. Okay, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
The circus is coming! The circus is coming!
Don't miss this exciting new show featuring Bell & Knott comedy act as seen on America's Got Talent, Daredevil, comedian, legend, and more. The Anna Shrine Circus, April 26th, 27th, and 28th at the Bangor Cross Insurance Center.
Higher shipping rates may be the cost of doing business, but at what cost?
Turn shipping to your advantage with low-cost ground shipping from the United States Postal Service.
Mesothelioma is more than a ravaging illness. It is a disease that can ruin a family's finances and is never the victim's fault. The law offices of Joe Bornstein has been fighting and winning for Maine families for nearly 50 years, and we've collected over $500 million for injured Mainers. If you or a loved one is a victim of mesothelioma or asbestos-related lung cancer, call Joe today for a free case evaluation and to learn about your family's legal rights. Dial 207-CALL-JOE or online at joebornstein.com.
Corendia presents the ABCs of CKD. C is for chronic, because chronic kidney disease and type 2 diabetes gets worse over time. K is for kidneys, because kidney damage can lead to kidney failure and dialysis. D is for doing more to protect your kidneys. Corendia is for adults with CKD and type 2 diabetes and is a once-daily tablet that is proven to reduce the risk of kidney failure, which can lead to dialysis. Corendia also slows the progression of kidney damage and reduces the risk of cardiovascular events such as heart attacks. Do not take Corendia if you have problems with your adrenal glands or take certain medications called CYP3A4 inhibitors. Corendia can cause high potassium levels in your blood. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and ask before taking potassium supplements or salt substitutes containing potassium. Corendia can also cause low blood pressure and low blood sodium. Kidney damage from CKD and type 2 diabetes is not reversible. Don't wait to ask your doctor if Corendia is right for you.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, chances are you have a lot of questions. Norm Prouty has answers. Learn some tips and tricks and explore some beautiful new homes on the market. The Norm Prouty and Donnell Baker Real Estate Show, Sunday mornings at 8:30 on Fox 22.
The circus is coming! The circus is coming!
Don't miss this exciting new show featuring Bell & Knott comedy act as seen on America's Got Talent, Daredevil, comedian, legend, and more. The Anna Shrine Circus, April 26th, 27th, and 28th at the Bangor Cross Insurance Center.
The Kings of the Lanes lay everything on the line for a major. The PBA Tournament of Champions Finals, Sunday at 1 Eastern on Fox.
Daniel Bruhl takes on the fashion industry. A pop superstar makes Spotify history and more. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has the latest in the Hollywood Nation.
Bruhl channels a fashion icon. Carell re-teams with Faye, and Swift sets a new record in the Hollywood Nation.
And I love you, it's ruining my life.
Taylor Swift continues her record-breaking streak. The pop superstar's album, The Tortured Poets Department, becomes Spotify's most streamed album in a single week, with more than 1 billion streams since its release April 19th. The record made Spotify history on the day of release after passing 300 million streams. Steve Carell will reunite with Date Night co-star Tina Fey for a new project. Carell will play the male lead alongside Fey in The Four Seasons, a comedy series based on the 1981 film of the same name. Production is set to begin later this year. Kate Beckinsale, Scott Eastwood, and James Cromwell are teaming up for a new thriller. The trio will star in Stolen Girl. Based on a true story, the film centers on an American woman searching for her daughter who was kidnapped by her ex-husband and taken to the Middle East.
Monsieur Lagerfeld.
Daniel Bruhl transforms into a fashion icon in today's first looks. Hulu and Disney Plus released the official trailer for Becoming Karl Lagerfeld, starring Bruhl as the legendary fashion designer. The French series takes a closer look at Lagerfeld's earlier years before becoming one of the industry's most successful names. The show premieres June 7th in Hollywood. Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
The Hirundo Wildlife Refuge is hosting a Meet a Scientist event this weekend in honor of Earth Day. The event will be held at Bennett Park in Old Town from 10 to 1 on Saturday. It's open to people of all ages and will serve as a way to teach people about the science taking place all around them.
Whether it's forests or archaeology or raptor biology, there's all kinds of exciting things happening.
To attend the event will receive their very own science passports, which will be stamped by every scientist they meet. Those fully marked passports can be traded in at the end of the day for a science poster of their choice. To learn more about the programs Hirundo has to offer, visit our website, foxbangor.com.
And finally, tonight, each year, UMaine's Cooperative Extension brings the brightest teenage chefs from across the state to compete in their cooking challenge. Our Doug Banks takes us inside the kitchen.
Chase Gerard was one of nearly a dozen high schoolers who participated in UMaine's annual Innovative Local Foods Cooking Challenge.
This is a lot more stressful, in my opinion, than restaurant work where I have my own space and I get to calmly cut things.
Students from 10 career technical education culinary arts programs had 1 hour and 30 minutes to gather, cut, cook, and present their dish. All the while, 3 judges watched and rated their performance.
You gotta have the mind to relax, but it's very chaotic.
The ingredients competitors used were limited, but they had one thing in common. They were all authentically Maine sourced.
Not being able to use just regular cane sugar, their sweeteners are local honey, maple sugar, or maple syrup.
We're getting to plant the seed, right, and start getting these young people thinking about Maine's food system.
As Chase's risotto moves from the chaos of the kitchen into the quiet suspense of the judge's room, he credits strong teamwork for the end result.
Kobe, my partner, if you don't have good communication with your partner, he could be doing something you're already doing or something completely wrong, and that will put off the balance for your entire dish.
In Orono, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Training the chefs of tomorrow. I like it.
I do too. And,
yeah.
As we saw there, teamwork makes the dream work.
Always.
You and I both had a kitchen experience before.
Yeah.
And so we know that firsthand.
Absolutely. And I also love that they're instilling early the value of using Maine-made products. Always a plus.
Love that.
Alrighty, folks. That is going to do it for us from everyone here at Fox 22. Good night.
Good night, everyone.